Have you ever had one of those mornings where you wake up, stare at the ceiling for a moment, and think, "What now?" Not because you're sad or upset, but because the days have started to feel a little too quiet, a little too slow, like they're blending into one another. Maybe you're not as busy as you used to be, or maybe you've been so focused on taking care of others for so long that now, when there's finally time for yourself, you're not quite sure what to do with it. If that sounds even a little bit familiar, I want you to know something right off the bat: you're not alone. Truly. As we get older, life shifts. The kids are grown, careers wind down, the body changes, and so does the rhythm of our days. But here's the thing: this chapter of life, this beautiful season after 60, isn't the end of anything. In fact, it can be the start of something deeply fulfilling. A time to rediscover what makes you smile for no reason. To reconnect with the parts of yourself that may have been put aside while you were busy doing everything for everyone else. That's why in today's video, we're going to talk about something simple but powerful: 6 daily rituals that can genuinely make you feel happier, more grounded, and more connected to your life after 60. And these aren't complicated routines or anything that will make you feel overwhelmed. They're gentle, easy-to-do habits that you can start as soon as today. Small changes that, over time, can lift your mood, spark your energy, and help you feel more like, well, you again. And if you love topics about health, psychology, and meaningful life like this, don't forget to give me a like, a share, and press the subscribe button for the channel. I'm on a mission to reach 1,000 followers, so I can continue to spread more valuable content to our community, people just like you who want to live with more joy, more meaning, and more peace of mind. Now, let's start with the first ritual, and this one might surprise you with how much power it holds. It's simply this: start your morning with stillness. Not the kind of stillness where you're half awake scrolling on your phone or lying there thinking about what hurts today. I mean real, intentional stillness. A few moments right when you wake up, before the noise of the world starts, to just breathe, check in with yourself, and be. You can sit by a window with a warm cup of tea, step out into the garden if you have one, or even stay in bed with your eyes closed and take 5 slow breaths. No goals. No to-do list. Just presence. This quiet moment helps your nervous system ease into the day rather than being jolted into stress. It tells your brain, we're okay. We're safe. We don't need to rush. And you'd be surprised how different your whole day can feel just by starting with 5 minutes of calm instead of chaos. I know someone, a lovely woman in her 70s, who lights the same little candle every morning, just after she wakes up. She doesn't do anything else. She just lights it and sits. Sometimes she prays. Sometimes she says nothing at all. But she told me once that this tiny act makes her feel anchored, like no matter what happens that day, she began it on her terms. That's the magic of stillness. It helps you feel in charge of your day, rather than at the mercy of it. Now let's move into something a little more active: the second ritual: move your body with love, not punishment. There's a lot of noise out there about fitness, exercise, and staying in shape. But after 60, what your body really wants is gentleness, consistency, and care. This isn't about trying to look a certain way. It's about feeling alive in your skin. Feeling connected to the miracle of movement that your body still offers you, even with its aches and quirks. You don't need to run marathons or do intense gym sessions unless that brings you joy. A 20-minute walk around the block, some gentle stretching in the living room, a little dancing to music you love in the kitchen, that's more than enough. In fact, the best kind of movement is the one that makes you smile while you do it. That's how you know it's feeding your spirit, not just your muscles. There's something deeply healing about moving your body in ways that feel good. It gets your blood flowing, yes, but it also lifts your mood, clears your mind, and reminds you that you are still vibrant, still capable, still beautifully alive. If you've ever noticed how just a few minutes outside in the sun, with your feet on the ground and your body in motion, can shift your whole mindset, then you already know what I mean. And don't worry about doing it right. There is no perfect routine. There is only what works for you. I knew a man in his late 60s who did Tai Chi in his backyard every morning. He said it made him feel like time slowed down. That's the kind of feeling we're after. Not performance. Presence. Now that we've talked about beginning your day with stillness and bringing your body into loving motion, let's talk about something equally essential but often overlooked, and that's the ritual of nourishment. This goes beyond just eating healthy, though that's part of it. I'm talking about treating mealtimes as sacred, as a chance to care for yourself, not just feed yourself. So many of us, especially when we live alone or no longer have family dinners to prepare, tend to treat meals like a chore. We rush through them, eat standing up, or just grab whatever's easy. But food, especially after 60, becomes more than fuel. It becomes part of your emotional well-being. What if, just once a day, you prepared something simple and good, sat down to enjoy it, maybe even played music or lit a candle, and let that moment remind you that you're worthy of care? Even if it's just a bowl of warm soup or a fresh piece of fruit, the way you approach it changes everything. Eating slowly, savoring each bite, being thankful, it's all part of nourishing your whole self. I once spoke to a retired teacher who made it a point to sit by the window every morning with her breakfast. She called it her morning ceremony. She'd have her toast and tea, and she'd watch the birds. That little ritual gave her more joy than any big vacation she could remember. It was simple. But it was hers. And it made her feel alive, rooted, and present. Now that we've touched on how we begin our day, move through it, and care for our body and mind in gentle ways. Now that we've touched on how we begin our day, move through it, and care for our body and mind in gentle ways, there's something else that adds an unexpected spark to daily life, and that is the joy of meaningful connection. This third ritual might not seem like much at first glance, but trust me, it can change your whole emotional landscape. Reach out to just one person a day. That's it. Just one. It doesn't need to be a long phone call or a deep heart-to-heart, although those are wonderful too. It could be a short voice message to an old friend. A little note to your neighbor. A comment on someone's photo that makes you smile. Or even just a kind word to the cashier at the store. The point is to make one genuine connection each day, to remind yourself, and someone else, that we're not alone here. Because one of the quiet struggles many people face after retirement or after the kids have grown up is a slow drifting into isolation. Not necessarily loneliness, just a sort of distance from the flow of others. And over time, that distance can feel heavier than we expect. But the beautiful thing is, reconnecting doesn't have to be hard. It just takes a little nudge. I know a gentleman, 74 years old, who makes it his daily ritual to send a cheerful text to one person in his contacts list every morning. Nothing dramatic. Just, thinking of you, hope today's a good one. He told me that not only does it brighten their day, but it brings him joy, too. And I believe him. Giving connection is receiving it, too. You don't need a big social circle to feel deeply connected. You just need a few genuine touches. And the habit of reaching out, even in small ways, reminds us that we are still part of the fabric of life, that we matter, and that we still have love to give. Now, speaking of giving, that leads us gently into the fourth ritual, and it's one of the most powerful secrets to long-lasting happiness, no matter your age. It's the act of expressing gratitude, daily, intentionally, and aloud if possible. This one may sound simple, maybe even a little too simple, but don't be fooled. Gratitude is like a gentle light that softens everything it touches. When you pause each day to notice what's still good, still beautiful, still working in your life, you shift your entire focus. You start to see blessings where you once saw burdens. You begin to feel rich in things that money can't buy. And the best part? It doesn't need to take more than a minute. Some people keep a little journal by their bed. Others say their thank yous aloud while brushing their teeth. I knew a woman who would touch the leaves of her houseplant every morning and whisper one thing she was grateful for. It doesn't matter how you do it. What matters is that you do it. That you take that moment, even if it's just one, to acknowledge the quiet gifts in your life. Maybe it's the way your coffee smells in the morning. Or the way the light comes through the window. Maybe it's a memory, a song, or simply the fact that you made it through another day. These tiny pieces of life, when noticed, become treasures. And when we begin to count what we love instead of what we lack, the heart responds with peace. With contentment. Even with joy. I think one of the most touching stories I've heard came from a man in his 80s who lost his wife after nearly 50 years of marriage. Every evening, he would sit in his armchair and say out loud 3 things he was grateful for, sometimes about the day, sometimes about her. He said it didn't make the grief go away, but it made room in his heart for both sorrow and sweetness. That's the gift of gratitude. It softens the sharp edges of life. And in doing so, it opens us up to more light. So now we've looked at stillness, movement, nourishment, connection, and gratitude, all gentle rituals that are easy to weave into everyday life. But let's pause here and think about what's really happening underneath all these habits. What we're doing is not just adding tasks to our day. We're slowly, kindly, building a new rhythm. A rhythm that supports who you are now, not who you used to be or who others expect you to be. And that leads beautifully into the next ritual, one that often gets forgotten, but is so essential. It's about feeding your curiosity. Giving your mind something new to chew on, every single day. You see, happiness isn't just about feeling calm or loved, it's also about feeling alive. And one of the most reliable ways to feel alive is to learn something. Anything. A new recipe. A new language. A fact you didn't know. A piece of history, or how to plant tomatoes better. When you give your mind something fresh to explore, you keep it sharp, yes, but you also keep your spirit youthful. Curious people age differently. They stay open. Engaged. Excited. And this doesn't have to mean going back to school or studying textbooks. It can be as simple as watching a documentary you've never seen, reading a few pages from a book on a topic that fascinates you, or asking a grandchild to show you how their favorite app works. It's the spirit of learning, not the scale, that brings the joy. One woman I know, a retired nurse in her mid-60s, made it a ritual to learn one word in a different language every day. That's it. One word. She kept a little notebook on her kitchen table, and with her morning coffee, she'd write it down. She said it made her feel like her world was still expanding, even while sitting in the same chair. And you know what? It was. When you add a touch of learning to your day, you remind yourself that it's never too late to grow. That you're still in motion. Still evolving. Still becoming. And there's something deeply joyful about that. So far, we've walked through some simple but powerful daily rituals, from quiet morning moments and gentle movement, to meaningful connection, daily gratitude, and feeding your curiosity. These are not just habits, but small acts of love toward yourself, ways to say, I'm still here, and this life is still full of things worth noticing, worth feeling, worth enjoying. And now, we come to the 6th and final ritual. It might surprise you, because it's often the one people overlook. It's not a task or a goal. It doesn't require willpower or effort. In fact, it asks for the opposite, to soften, to surrender a little. The 6th ritual is to simply make time each day to enjoy something, without rushing, without guilt, and without turning it into a productivity contest. It could be something as simple as sitting with a hot cup of tea, with no phone, no TV, and no to-do list. Just letting yourself be there, fully. Feeling the warmth in your hands. Letting the steam rise to your face. Listening to the birds outside, or to the hum of life all around you. Or maybe it's putting on your favorite music and letting yourself get lost in it. Or stepping outside just to feel the air on your skin and watch the sky change colors. It could be flipping through old photo albums, not to feel nostalgic in a sad way, but to remember how many lives you've lived, how many versions of you have come and gone. And how each one has led you here. This kind of enjoyment isn't about distraction or entertainment. It's about presence. About choosing to notice something pleasant and letting yourself have it. So often, we rush through even the good parts of life, eating while standing, talking while thinking of the next thing, filling our time with noise. But happiness after 60 doesn't come from how much we cram into the day. It comes from how deeply we let ourselves feel the moments we're in. There's a story I once heard about a man who grew strawberries in his backyard. Every morning, he'd go out and pick just 3 of the ripest ones. He'd bring them inside, rinse them gently, and sit by the window to eat them, one by one. Slowly. Like a little ceremony. When asked why he only picked 3 when there were so many more, he smiled and said, "Because 3 is all I need to remember that life is sweet." That stayed with me. And it reminds me of something many of us forget in the later chapters of life: we don't need more to be happy. We just need to notice what's already here. The ritual of daily enjoyment helps us do that. It reminds us that joy is not a luxury, it's a part of health. A part of healing. A part of being fully, beautifully alive. So here we are, 6 simple, soulful rituals. None of them flashy. None of them expensive. But each one powerful in its own quiet way. You don't need to do them all at once. This isn't a checklist, it's not a race. Maybe you start with just one, whichever one speaks to you the most. Maybe you try it for a few days and see how it feels. Then add another. And another. Let these habits grow gently, like sunlight through a window. No pressure, no perfection, just small, steady steps back into yourself. And maybe that's the most important part of all this. These rituals aren't just about boosting happiness, though they will. They're about returning. Returning to your own rhythm. Your own presence. Your own sense of worth, not because of what you do, but simply because you are here. If you've ever felt like time is slipping by too quickly, or like some days blend together without much color, or if you've ever caught yourself wondering, quietly, is this all there is? Then let this be a soft reminder: there is more. Not more to chase, but more to feel. More to notice. More to enjoy. And you have the right to that joy. Not someday. Not if everything goes right. But today. Just as you are. So as you go about your day, I hope you carry a few of these little rituals with you. A pause here. A smile there. A quiet thank you whispered into your morning. A walk with no destination. A moment of laughter with someone you love, or even just with yourself. Remember, happiness after 60 doesn't come from pretending to be young again. It comes from honoring where you are. From being fully present in this chapter, not with regret, but with reverence. With gentleness. With grace. And if you've made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me. It means more than you know. If any of this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What small ritual do you already practice that brings you peace? Or which of these would you like to try? If you enjoyed this video, it would truly help me if you gave it a like, shared it with someone who might need to hear this today, and hit the subscribe button to join this growing little corner of calm and kindness. I'm on my journey to reach 1,000 followers so I can keep sharing more content like this with the community, and every click, every comment, every share brings us a step closer. Until next time, take care of yourself. Be kind to your body, your mind, and your heart. And remember, you're not just getting older. You're growing into a deeper, wiser, more peaceful version of yourself. This is your time, and it's never too late to feel more joy. Let today be the start.